Elias Carter had always been the sort of person who laughed in museums. He couldn't help it. The quiet halls, the silent artifacts, all begging to be joked about. His friends back on Earth said he'd get smited by some ancient spirit one day. He always replied, if they wanted to smite me, they'd need to wake up first. But this time, something did. Elias was an archaeotech intern stationed on Orelon 5, a world the Galactic Union considered the greatest archaeological dig in the Spiral Arm. The planet was once home to the Silvarii, a vanished species rumored to have wielded technology that bent space and thought. Elias? He mostly carried equipment and tried not to break anything. The statue stood in the central chamber, 10 feet tall, carved from obsidian blue crystal, shaped like a humanoid woman with sleek armor plates and a crown of silver tendrils. Every file labeled it. Artifact 0001. Silvarii Royal Guardian. Estimated age 1,000, 3,000 standard years. The team leader, Dr. Halen, was lecturing a visiting delegation. Elias had tuned out. Typical speech about preserving history and not touching artifacts, which is exactly when Elias approached the statue. No offense, he whispered to the stone face, but they could have made you smile a little. A millennium with that serious expression? Rough. His hand brushed the cool crystal chin. No alarms. No shouting scientists. Reckless confidence flooded him. Well, Princess Rockface, he grinned. Let's make your day interesting. He kissed the statue on the lips. A harmless joke, a loud one, because the sound echoed through the silent chamber. He pulled back, ready to laugh. The statue blinked. Its crystalline head tilted, and a voice, soft as starlight, whispered, Chosen. Protector. Elias staggered backward. The artifact's eyes ignited with bright silver light. Everyone in the room screamed. Dr. Halen nearly swallowed his hollow tablet. The ground trembled. Panels in the floor unsealed as ancient lights flickered awake. Holographic script streamed into the air, indecipherable to the scientists, but the statue turned directly toward Elias. You reawaken me. My king, Elias squeaked. I'm not even royalty of my apartment. It stepped forward, stone cracking and shedding into shimmering armor. Beneath emerged a breathtaking alien woman, silver-skinned, eyes like mirrored stars. She knelt. To Elias, an unpaid intern who barely passed Ancient Civilizations 101. Dr. Halen fainted on the spot. How lucky, Elias whispered. He doesn't get to see me die when she crushes me. But she didn't attack. She reached out her hand. Command me, and the universe changed. Middle, the Guardian and the human, her name, once translated through Elias's trembling datapad, was Eris Varen, Royal Guardian of the Silvarii sovereign line. Eris believed Elias carried the sovereign gene, a lineage lost with her civilization's fall. Elias insisted she had the wrong guy. I work in archives. He tried explaining. You're confusing me with someone important. Eris scanned him, eyes glowing as glyphs spun around him. Confirmed. 99.97% match to the sovereign genome. Royal blood. Lost blood. Found blood. Elias started sweating. That 0.3% could be a pretty important difference. But the scientists didn't care about his panic. They cared about the discovery of the century. The Galactic Union arrived in waves. Warships, ambassadors, xenohistorians. They wanted Eris's power, and power she had. When threatened, she unleashed gravitic shockwaves that crumpled steel like paper. She manipulated energy barriers like curtains. Her presence alone caused sensors to scream warnings. She was unstoppable, except Elias could calm her with a hand on her shoulder. One gentle touch, and her combat stance melted away. The Union noticed and planned. A smooth-tongued ambassador called Elias into a conference dome overlooking the dig site. Human, the ambassador smiled. You are now the most valuable resource in this sector. I prefer intern, not anymore. We need her. We will help you. Control her. That word chilled him. Control. Eris was sentient, loyal, dangerous. Yes, but only when cornered. They didn't want peace. They wanted a weapon. Armed guards approached her chamber. Scientists whispered of dissection, data extraction, mind override protocols, and Eris knew. She looked at Elias, voice trembling like cracking crystal. Must I fight your people, my king? Elias's heart caved. No, you don't hurt anyone unless I say. She bowed. Then I will obey. He turned to her, really seeing her. Now, a soldier resurrected to serve a master long gone, a lonely protector whose last memory was her world burning. He put his hand over her metallic palm. You're not a weapon, he said. You're someone who deserves a second chance. Her silver eyes softened. I was right. You are sovereign not by birth, but by heart. But the Union's patience ran out. They surrounded them with pulse rifles aimed. One commander barked, "Step away from the artifact, human." Artifact. Elias stepped in front of Eris. She's alive, he snapped. She's not property. The commander raised his weapon. Eris's eyes surged with cosmic power. Elias lifted a hand. Not unless I say. Her power froze, trembling, dangerous. The commander sneered. You think you can protect it? We will bury this planet before letting that monster roam free. Eris whispered, give the word, and I will unmake them. Elias made a choice. He grabbed Eris's hand and ran. She followed, the unstoppable force shadowing it terrified. In turn, they escaped into the heart chamber, the core of Silvarii. Technology, machines roared awake around her. Presence. Stasis pods opened. Holograms formed of ancient warriors, and a voice, deep and regal, echoed through the chamber. Royal Guardian Eris Varen, confirming sovereign match. A beam of light scanned Elias. Authority recognized. Initiating Silvarii restoration protocol. The ground collapsed downward, revealing a hidden hangar. Elias's jaw dropped. Ships, not just any ships. War fleet of crystal-armored dreadnoughts, dormant, but humming alive. Eris knelt again at his side. You woke our empire. Elias stared at his shaking hands. What have I done? Climax. The human legacy. The Union forces breached the chamber. Hundreds of soldiers pouring in, guns blazing. Elias shielded. Eris instinctively, as if his skinny body could stop plasma fire. But a shield did emerge, a shimmering dome of gravity bending around him. Eris looked at him in awe. You are awakening. My king, Elias barely processed as ships above the chamber powered up, engines thrumming like thunder. The Union commander shouted, Stand down, human! That fleet belongs to the Galactic Union. Elias turned, voice shaking but loud. No, they don't. He felt Eris's power linking with his mind, unlocking instincts he shouldn't have possessed. Ancient commands formed on his tongue like he'd spoken them 1,000 times. His voice boomed with authority not his own. Silvarii fleet, defend. The chamber detonated with light. Starships rose from the depths like vengeful titans, weapons locking onto the Union forces. Armor plates reconfigured, syncing to Elias's biometrics. The commander panicked. The human controls them. Retreat! Retreat! But only Elias gave the final order. No killing. Force them to leave. The fleet fired non-lethal graviton blasts, hurling warships into retreat like toys tossed by giants. When silence returned, the fleet hovered above, waiting for Elias's will. Eris smiled, proud, relieved. The sovereign returns. Elias dropped to his knees. I'm just human. Eris helped him up gently. In our final days, the Silvarii searched the galaxy for a species worthy to inherit their power. Her hand pressed over his heart. They found yours. Elias looked around. The fleet, the technology, the responsibility now weighing like a sun. The Galactic Union would be back. But next time, humanity would not come begging. They would arrive with a legacy reborn. Ending. A new dawn for humans and Silvarii repairs began on the fleet. Eris taught Elias to command systems that once ruled sectors of the galaxy. Scientists and politicians argued. But Elias made the rules now. No exploitation, no enslavement, no more empires consuming others. Eris stood beside him always. Guardian to a king he never asked to be. Every night, he visited the statue pedestal where she once stood frozen in silence. He'd touch the cool stone and whisper, Thanks for waking up. Eris would smile beside him, silver eyes shimmering. It was your kiss that freed me, and your kindness that guides me. He laughed softly. I still can't believe a joke ruined the galaxy's power balance. Not ruined, she said. Restored. Elias turned to her, the future burning bright behind her. So what now? Eris bowed her head slightly. Now, my king, you lead. And together, they stepped onto the command deck of a resurrected empire, ready to carve the human legacy into the stars. Eris Varen did not sleep. Silvarii royal guardians had been designed to remain alert, always vigilant, but she did try to pretend sleep sometimes, lying still to keep Elias from worrying. He already carried the weight of an empire on his shoulders. Tonight, she simply watched him. He sprawled sideways across the command chair of the flagship Eternal Star, fast asleep, snoring softly. A datapad lay on his chest, displaying ancient Silvarii star maps, his finger still touching a highlighted system. She smiled faintly. Even in dreams, he seeks to protect, but her smile faded as warnings blinked across the ship's viewports. A Union fleet, massing at the edge of the system, larger than before determined war, was coming, and she feared what it would make of him. The human king and his unwanted crone Elias woke to alarm screaming. He jolted upright, nearly flinging the datapad into the air. Eris stood at his side. Our sensors detect a battle group of 200 Union warships, she reported. Elias blinked groggily. That's a lot. That's like too much. Indeed, Eris said calmly. Their commander has sent a message. Elias gulped. Let's hear it. A hologram flared to life, revealing a hardened reptilian general with scales like jagged bronze plating. Human Elias Carter, you have unlawfully assumed command of a classified xeno-relic fleet. Surrender the artifact-designated entity Eris Varen and all Silvarii assets immediately. Elias cleared his throat. And if we don't, then your species will face obliteration before it crawls off its dirt world. Elias winced. See, that's not a great negotiation opener. The general's reptilian lips curled. You are no king. You are an accident with a crown scraped from the bones of a dead empire. The communication cut. Elias sat back, overwhelmed. Eris kneeled before him, armor shimmering silver blue. My king, command, and we shall erase them. I don't want anyone erased, Elias insisted. There must be another way. Mercy, she whispered. Again you choose mercy. Yes, Elias said firmly. Always mercy first, Eris closed her eyes. Then prepare for battle. A merciful one. The fleet awakes. The Eternal Star's engines roared as the Silvarii fleet rose from orbit. Dozens of crystal-armored dreadnoughts forming formation behind Elias. He stood on the bridge, heart pounding. All ships, prepare gravitic shields and restraint cannons. We won't fire to kill, Eris nodded. Orders are set, Elias inhaled sharply. We can do this. The enemy fleet warped into system, colossal, bristling with weapons powerful enough to glass entire continents. The general broadcast again. Last chance, human. Elias clenched his fists. No surrender. The general snarled and cut the line. Eris looked to Elias. Permission to engage? Elias exhaled slowly. Engage defensive combat. Protect and don't destroy. Eris smiled just slightly. As you decree. The stars ignited. The merciful war laser storms and kinetic slings filled the void. The Silvarii gravitic shields bent plasma into harmless halos. Union battleships fired everything. Rage, fear, desperation. But it wasn't enough. Fire restraint cannons. Elias shouted. Silvarii vessels unleashed shimmering. Nets of gravity coils, wrapping enemy ships and immobilizing them like flies. Trapped in amber. But the Union fleet was massive, and more arrived by the minute. They adapted. They learned. One heavy cruiser bypassed Silvarii defenses and fired Eris. Grabbed Elias, hurling up a personal barrier as explosions rocked the bridge. You okay? He gasped. Eris's armor flickered. She nodded. Always. Elias steadied his breathing. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a leader. He was an intern who kissed a statue, but thousands of lives now depended on him. He stood tall, voice echoing across the fleet. We will show the galaxy a different kind of power. The strength to protect, even our enemies. Silvarii crews saluted. Eris's eyes shone with awe. Betrayal and truth, the Union changed tactics, releasing null drones programmed to disable AI systems. Eris stiffened, glitching. My king. Null signals, targeting my neural matrices. Her knees buckled. Elias grabbed her shoulders. Stay with me. She struggled to speak. You must disconnect me from the fleet. They will corrupt my mind, turn me into a weapon. No, Elias insisted. I need you. Eris looked up at him, eyes flickering. You need the Silvarii, not me. Elias shook his head. I didn't ask to lead an empire. I don't care about power. His voice cracked. I care about you. Eris froze, stunned, as if no one had ever said such a thing to her across centuries of service. The null drones swarmed. Elias thought fast. He grabbed Eris's hand and slammed it onto a control crystal. New commands formed in his mind, ancient knowledge awakening in him. Fleet, firewall override Gamma. Protect Eris, priority 0. The fleet pulsed with defensive energy. A wave that shattered every null drone instantly. Eris collapsed against him, breath returning. You saved me. Elias smiled shakily. Well, you kissed me back, right? Seems fair. Eris blinked, a flicker of silver blush warming her cheeks. Not yet. The king's transformation, but the battle was far from over. The enemy general, enraged, charged forward with his command ship, preparing a planet-killer strike aimed at the Silvarii home ruins below. One blast will awaken the full wrath of the fleet. Eris whispered. Elias understood. If the Silvarii auto-defense triggered, billions could die. He stepped forward, activating full sovereign interface. The ship responded, light spiraling around him, armor forming over his body and plates of living crystal. Eris stared, breathless. Sovereign armor, chosen only by true heirs. Elias's voice deepened with alien resonance. We do not repay fear with fear. The armor launched him directly onto the enemy flagship. He crashed through the hull like a star wrapped in justice. Soldiers scattered. Weapons fired. His armor bent every beam aside. He marched straight into the command deck. The reptilian general turned, snarling. You dare board my vessel, child? Elias raised a hand. You threaten a world and call me a child? The general charged, claws bared. Elias caught his wrist. Armor flared. He didn't kill the general. He pinned him to the deck. You don't understand what we've found here, Elias said. Not power. Purpose, the general hissed, defiant. Humans are weak. Empires do not bow to mercy. Elias stared into his eyes. Then this empire will be the first. He looked to the Union soldiers. Stand down, go home. Today is not a day for war. It's a day to choose better. One by one, they lowered their weapons. The last command. With the enemy fleet subdued and the flagship forced to retreat, Elias received a transmission. Earth leadership. Panicked voices filled the air. Carter. Do you realize what you've done? You've made humanity a target for every empire in the galaxy. Elias stared at their angry faces. Then he smiled. Calm. No, I made humanity a leader. He cut the channel and turned to Eris. A new path, he said. No more wars of conquest. No more domination. A fleet that protects the helpless. And who will command such a fleet? Eris asked softly. Elias chuckled. You're looking at a former intern. Her hand touched his cheek. Gentle. You are more than you believe. The fleet awaited his orders. Elias breathed in starlight. Silvarii fleet, new directive. Protect the innocent. Guard the forgotten. We are a shield, not a sword. A cheer echoed across the armada. Ancient voices reborn. Eris bowed before him. A gesture of devotion rather than duty. My king, what of me? Elias hesitated, then smiled warmly. You're not my guardian anymore. Eris blinked, heartbreak flickering across her face. You're my partner, he finished, her expression melted into radiant joy. Then, may I finally fulfill the tradition of Silvarii loyalty? What tradition? She leaned forward and kissed him. This time, the universe trembled not in fear, but hope. Epilogue. The human legacy peace began with a single kiss. Chaos ended with mercy. The galaxy didn't change overnight, but it started to. A new coalition formed. Planets once preyed upon, now defended by the Silvarii Human Alliance. Elias Carter. Once nobody became the voice of a future where strength served compassion. Eris Varen remained by his side, not as weapon or servant, but as equal. Together, they looked out across the stars. Elias whispered, Crazy how a joke can change everything. Eris smiled. Not a joke, my king, a promise. The stars reflected in her silver eyes. The sovereign had returned, and humanity stood taller than ever before. The end.